All right. One of our goals with the Broken Copier is to include more video resources going forward, especially with tools like this opening lesson that I know has been popular and used in lots of places. I've used it for over a decade in different iterations, including with adults. And I really believe in it because I think knowing people's values and being able to articulate what they are is really important. And I use this in my own classroom to get to know students. It's a tool that we come back to again and again and again, like on my classroom roster in my hand on my clipboard, students' names and their top values that I get from this activity. We come back to it at the end of the year. We talk about the idea of having lots of different values in our classroom and being like my job being to honor and respect and understand them, but also for them to get to know and work with and build a community with people who might have different top values, but we're all part of the same community, learning together, which is a really cool thing. So I love this as a starting activity. This is the opening slide. Just something for the students to kind of talk about, think about which shape best defines their personality if they had to pick. And then I show them kind of some, like, I'm sure pretty shoddy research of like what the shape represents from a personality survey standpoint. Hey, raise your hand if you're a square or a circle. I share that I'm a triangle. You can see if you've got a class full of squiggly lines, that says a lot about what you're in store for. And then we move into the lesson. This is like a 35 to 40-minute lesson. First day of the school year, typically for me, especially with my sophomores. So they get this index card and they fill out these just like this: first and last name, class period, and then 1 through 8. And they're going to write down 8 core values over the next 4 slides. So 8 divided by 4, that's 2 per slide. So on the first slide, so it'll look like this. They're going to write down 2 of these words that mean something to them in terms of who they are, what they value now and going forward. I read through the list, define a few of the words for them, and then they write down 2 of them. I go double check real quickly that everyone on their slides or everyone on their index card has 2 words written down for 1 and 2. And then we move into the second list, again, proceeding alphabetically. And I tell students if there's a word that's not on this list that they want to use, by all means. It's not my job to draw any confinements around what their values are or should be. And then at the halfway point, trying to make this a little bit more interactive in recent years, quick shoulder chat. Hey, whoever's got who's sitting in the lowest desk number or the biggest desk number, what of the 4 words you wrote down do you think someone who knows you well would be surprised that you wrote down, and or least surprised, and why is that? So quick partner chat, just trying to build that culture of collaboration early on. Getting back to work with part 3, some more words. Part 4, some more words, and they should have 8 at this point. So the goal here is they've got 8 words filled out on their index card. So the fun part now, and this is a slide I've used for many years, and you always get the same reaction because these students did not know these words. They had no connection to these words when they walked in the room. And then when I tell them that they're gonna have to cross out 3 of them, like the size in the room, like, oh no, Mr. Luther is like the meanest teacher ever, is making me cross out 3 of the words I just wrote down. And we just keep going. So they cross out 2 more. So they have their top 3. And then I have them circle their number 1. And you can just watch students making choices in that moment. You can kind of narrate, oh, like I see Joey over there, just like looks like he's going to break his pencil in half instead of, crossing out, like showing how much connection and conviction he has to his top values. You can have some fun with it. You're setting culture. It's day 1, hopefully, if you're using this, or week 1, maybe. I use this in day 2 in some of my other classes. And then I share for them what I'm really wanting them to do, which is to say, not just here is a top value, but here is why it is a top value for me. So I just like that 1 sentence explanation. So then we flip it over. So first we practice, we say to their partner, here's a top value and here's why. I kind of model for them what it looks like. They can choose out of their top 3, giving them some flexibility. I've got the sentence starters on these slides, so we go with it. And then this is something that if you have time, a little bit of a longer lesson, this is a great activity, gets them out of their seats. Sometimes this is what I cut. I like to a lot of times to build in extra activities that I can kind of be versatile with in case because I know where I want to end, but sometimes the getting from point A to point Z happens in different times in that first week of school, especially. So I added in this activity to kind of give me some wiggle room to either stretch it out or skip it. So I have skipped this in the past, but this does work really well when I've used it. Then we go to the back of the index card. So we're going to go 1 through 5, 5-question survey. And I promise them that I am going to read through every single one of these answers before they walk back in. I used to give these really long surveys, and then I'd have like this stack of surveys at the end of the first week. I'm exhausted. I did not always read through all those surveys at even within like the next few weeks. It took forever, like 50 questions, like what's your favorite snack, song, etc. But these 5 I can read through and record before students walk back in the room. So let me walk you through the 5. So question 1 is what we just did. Top value and why. This is quick because they've already just said their answer. Now they're just writing it down. And this gives me a chance to write down every student's top value and know that top value before they walk back in the room. Question 2, moving to an optional question in terms of like their reasoning. All I'm really asking for is a number. When you think about what your relationship has been with school up to this point in your K-12 experience, what would you say 1 to 7, from incredibly positive and supportive to very negative or harmful? I believe in this because it allows me to name, hey, I recognize you all have had different experiences with school that you bring into this classroom. And I want to know what they were so I can kind of, with the goal of making this classroom a positive place for you. It's an acknowledgement that even students who have had the exact same classes, maybe for over a decade, with the people they're sitting next to, might have had a very different experience with school. It's important for, I think, teachers to name that school is not always a positive experience for students, while at the same time aspiring and working for it to be one. And I believe this question is a really important opening message to the class. Again, I don't make them write down why, and I'm not going to have them share their answers. I'm not going to have like a class poll, etc. This is a private answer that I just want to see where they're at. So that goes number 2. Number 3, this one is more of a collaborative one. I talk about what do they want most in terms of being successful in class. What do they need from me as a teacher, from the class overall? I like to go with that, like the rhyming C's. So consistency, change, challenge, compassion, clarity, and creativity are the alliterative C's, I should say. And, I tell them, pick one. But then more importantly, this is one where I do want them to talk with each other. And then I say, hey, raise your hand if you said consistency. Raise your hand if you said change. Because what that creates is this landscape in the classroom where they notice, oh, me and several others like consistency, but a lot of other people want change. Oh, some of us want challenge. Others want compassion. And different people need different things from the same classroom. I like them to see that. I like to know what they need. But I also like to that message of, hey, this is difficult to make it happen for everyone at the same time. The 4th question is one that I added recently. This one is Kyle Nemus posted about this on Twitter a couple years ago. So I still stole this and I'm giving credit to him for this because it's a great activity. What is an interesting, important, or boring fact about yourself? Because we actually print out rosters they tape into their binders a week 2. And it has name, top value, and whatever this fact is. And it's just kind of a way to build classroom community, get to know each other. I give them my interesting fact of driving into a wall the first day I got my driver's license. I give them my boring fact that I drink 2 cups of black coffee a day is my caffeine intake, maybe a little black tea if I get or green tea if I get a little bit tired in the afternoon. But I want them to write down something and then share. This is a great interactive thing if you want to get them up out of their seats again to share with each other. I love this. Recent years, I've added it as one of our first 5 questions for a reason, and just as a helpful way to get to know students as individuals. And then finally, and this one's important in the sense of creating that optional space for students to let you know what they need to be supported in your classroom. You're not saying, tell me something really important about your life. You're not asking for too much. You're not putting them any pressure to tell you something, a teacher they're just meeting that they don't want to tell. But in general, is there anything that you need from me to be successful right away in this class? Maybe it's where you're sitting in the classroom. Maybe it is schedule questions. Maybe it's you've got some travel stuff, like maybe you're on a sports team, you're going to miss a bunch of class next month. Maybe it is name preferences, pronouns, etc. Giving them space, but not requiring it. And it's an optional space. I make it really clear about that. But this is something I'm going to look through these cards so I can begin the process of making sure they're supported going forward. That's the 5th question. We end by me calling on every student and them telling me their top value. It's our kind of making sure they see if I got their names down. I have their names on their seating chart, a little cheat code. And then, of course, I have the other lesson available at the website. So what I do with my juniors just gives you another option for that first day in case you are looking for a good activity.